for you, Oneika, to just share a little bit about how you got to where you are today. For those of you who may not be familiar with your journey and your whole career trajectory, can you paint a little bit of a Cliff Notes picture of where you came from and where you are today?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am so grateful to be here. Erica, thank you so much for having me on the Nomadic Network. Pity that Matt couldn't be here, but snow. Snow is doing its thing in Texas. But my name is Oneika Raymond. I am a TV host and travel journalist, as well as a lifestyle expert and podcast host. And I am a multi-hyphenate like so many of you here, but at the heart of it all, I am an explorer, and I'm somebody who is very passionate about travel. And basically how I got to where I am is I actually started out in education. I was a French teacher for 10 years, and I basically got into education as a way to travel. So I had the opportunity to travel and teach overseas for about 9 of those 10 years. And I taught and traveled, or I taught in Hong Kong, in France, I taught in London, England, I taught in Mexico, and I also taught in my native country of Canada. I was actually born and raised in Toronto, Canada. But I always had a passion for travel. And during that time when I was teaching, I started a travel blog, and little did I know that it would lead me to what I am doing today, which is working full-time as a freelance travel storyteller and journalist and on-air expert. So that's kind of the Cliff Notes version. There's so many other things to say about that. But basically, I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada. I started traveling the world as a traveling teacher, and then eventually started working in the travel media space full-time.
I love that. We have a lot of people in our community that are interested in building up their Instagram, I guess, not just for an Instagram purpose, but in order to build up their tour guiding company or their blog or their business of some sort, to make this whole travel passion of theirs and something that actually earns them money. So we are going to be focusing more on Instagram, obviously, on the call. But can you tell us like when you started your Instagram account and why you like the platform in general?
Sure. So to be honest with you, I don't even remember what year I started my Instagram. Maybe I started it in 2012 or 2013, but I didn't really become a frequent user of the platform until about 2016. And that was when we really saw the growth of the platform, the growth and popularity of the platform, and also the growth of influencer marketing. And I'll tell you right now that for somebody who's trying to build a business or build name recognition, whether it's through personal branding or for some sort of commercial venture that you are starting up, there's no better free advertising platform than Instagram. And there is a lot of money in digital marketing that is being invested in Instagram right now. So because the barrier to entry is so low, I mean, anybody can sign up for it. Sign up to Instagram for free. Anybody can post content on Instagram for free. I think it is such a great way to put yourself out there and to eventually, hopefully, derive some sort of income or some sort of recognition on that platform. Also, I think I really like the platform because it doesn't necessarily have to be as polished. For somebody like myself, who is an on-air and on-camera host, I'm used to being on TV now. And, it's pretty serious when you're on TV. There's lights, camera, action, there's usually like a makeup person, at least pre-COVID. There's, all these different people on set. And there's a lot that goes into production. But with Instagram, you can talk to people, you can reach your followers, you can reach new people, new eyeballs, new audience, just like this, from the comfort of your own home. And it doesn't have to be polished, and it can be really authentic, and it can be really immediate. So I think that's why, in a nutshell, I really enjoy Instagram, because you have the opportunity to connect with people instantaneously, hence the Insta part of it, and with very low risk and low investment.
That's
So
so
it's a very
true.
accessible platform, let's put it that way.
What did you say?
It's a very accessible platform. It doesn't cost anything to join, doesn't cost anything to use, and the opportunities are really endless to connect and to find your tribe, so to speak.
So true. And so if you're saying that you started, back in 2012 when everyone was just filtering their lunches and
Yeah.
putting pictures up, and then really started in 2016, I know that your Instagram specifically, you do have a lot of paid advertising and things like that intermingled in your, whatever you just want to post out of your lifestyle. But when did that sort of start happening for you, and how did you sort of grow the kind of presence that enabled you to actually like put up ads and have people still listen and still want to follow you, instead of what we commonly see is people put up these ads and then people lose their following because they feel like it's disingenuous or something like that.
Right. Well, you just hit the nail right on the head. One of my core values is to always be authentic. I am always authentic to myself. And I hope that that is something that shines through, whether you are a new follower or a longtime follower. I have been on the platform, or I've been in the travel space for a really long time. I always say that my travels preceded Facebook, they preceded Instagram, they preceded the internet, basically. And so I love to travel, and I've always shared my travels, and I've always shared aspects of my lifestyle, regardless of whether or not I was getting paid for it. So I think that that authentic piece, the fact that I will share and I will post, regardless of whether or not anybody is paying me to, I think that is what keeps me from falling into the trap that some other influencers fall into, which is, a lack of authenticity. I'm very transparent. I'm like, listen, y'all, I need to make coins. I'm here producing all of this content, and this sponsored content, I'm producing content for free every day. And this sponsored content allows me to keep on bringing you non-sponsored content that you don't have to pay for. And so I'm very transparent with that. And because I share all aspects of my story, the good, the bad, the ugly, and because the amount of content that I'm putting up, the amount of content that's not sponsored or not paid for by somebody far exceeds the paid content. I think the balance is there as well. One of the things I see a lot, just kind of being on the internet and in various forums and all of that, is you see a lot of people complaining about content creators and saying, oh, well, every ad or every post is like a sponsored ad, and I never want to be that person. So I'm creating loads of content on a regular basis, and only a percentage of that is sponsored.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're saying no to a whole lot more than you're saying yes
Yeah,
to.
totally. And I think it's really important as well. You bring up a really good point that, again, it boils down to being authentic. So when I align with a brand partner, it's going to be because they align with my core values. Like, I'm not going to take on a partnership that doesn't reflect me at all. And human beings, we evolve. I'm a newish mom. And I had a baby last year in January. And so I've been partnering with a lot of lifestyle and mommy brands. And that's really authentic to the season that I find myself in right now. Prior to hopping on this call, you and I, Erica, we were talking about disposable diapers and non-disposable diapers. And I've worked with a diaper company, and I am working with various baby brands because, again, that is very authentic to my experience as a new mom.
Yeah, and I want to touch upon that because I find that a lot of people ask Matt this main question of like, how do you find your niche? And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you definitely have a niche, and it seems very congruent with whatever's happening in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that, or how would you answer the question, how do I find my niche? Because we have a lot of just people that love to travel, and so they want to do, let's say, budget travel. But yeah.
Right. It's funny that you say that because I almost feel as though I don't really have a niche because I am impassioned by so many different things. I feel like there's so many different tangents and aspects that really light my fire. I think, however, that when I look at all the content, because yes, I do mommy stuff and I do travel stuff and I do lifestyle stuff and I do personal growth content, what it really distills down to is, I guess, three kind of tenets that I live by, which are education, empowerment, and exploration. So basically anything that I do fits in one of these kind of verticals. And yeah, that's going to encompass like many different topics, but the theme, one of those themes is always present. And for somebody who is looking for their niche, what are the things that you like to do in your spare time? What are the things, ask yourself, what would you do with your life if you had complete free reign, if you weren't worried about your finances, if you didn't have to worry about familial obligations or professional obligations? What would you do if your time was completely yours and if you had the world at your feet, And for me, I love traveling. But even more than that, I love learning about different people. I love learning different languages. I love engaging with different people. I love, new experiences. And so again, that kind of folds into education because I love learning about different cultures and love learning different languages. The empowerment part, this idea of being able to explore solo or feeling empowered to engage with these different cultures and languages. And then I just love to explore. I feel like I'm on this personal journey of exploration, and that could be at home or that could be abroad, and so I would implore people who are looking for this niche, first of all, don't look so hard. it to be this complicated thing, right? Just ask yourself, what lights your fire? What are you excited by? What gives you that extra spring in your step?
So true. So true. And I mean, when I'm thinking about your niche right now, I'm thinking, I don't know what your niche would be, but it's like, I just am attracted to your personality and what you love to teach. And that's like why I follow you, because I really enjoy whatever you enjoy so far. You haven't done anything that I'm like, wow, I really just don't want to know about that. It's like, I feel like I'm learning all the time from you. And I think that's also a really important part of your Instagram and your, just all of your outlets in general. You're always teaching people. And so I feel like I'm learning from just whatever I'm consuming. Okay, so then what are some challenges that you've seen when it comes to IG over the years or just recently?
Oh my goodness. Well, getting eyeballs on your content is always a struggle because we have this thing called the algorithm, and it prevents you from connecting with your audience. And so there's a constant push and pull where it's like, okay, well, these are the things that I really like, and these are the things that I really want to promote, and these are the things that I want to put on my feed. But, the format that I posted in, the time that I posted at, is it going to get seen by the people that I want to see it? Right. And so you have to kind of play the game and navigate those algorithms and, those reach issues and the shadow bans and the hashtag blocks. And that requires some strategy. And so, in terms of trying to really reach your audience on Instagram, that is a continuing challenge for all of us, whether you have 1 follower or 100,000 followers.
And do you have any quick tips for how you figured out how to actually reach people through the algorithm?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, number 1, post reels. Use reels 3 to 5 times a week. Reels, that is the number 1, I guess, content type that is being pushed on Instagram over any other type of content, real content. So whether you communicate like a recipe, once upon a time you would have like a feed post, or you would have an IGTV with this like recipe for how to bake this amazing lava cake. Well, now those views are going to be suppressed. So you need to distill this cake baking process into a 30-second clip and put it as a reel. So that's my number 1 tip, is to use reels and use reels consistently. My number 2 tip would be to create shareable content. Create content that people are going to want to engage with, because shares are the new likes, right? And think about it. The more shares you get, the more eyes are going to be on your content, and the potential for new followers will grow. And then number 3, create content that is valuable to people. Instead of focusing on you, oh my God, look at me in my amazing house, look at me in my amazing car. Well, how about you empower people to have the same things as you, right? So instead of being like, oh, well, this is everything that I have, but I'm not going to tell you how I got it. Create something that is service-based, right? So instead of saying, here's my amazing Lexus, be like, okay, well, here are actionable steps and achievable steps for you as well to get a Lexus, right? That's a lot more powerful.
I love that.
Oh, that's the subject of my next reel. Thanks, Erica.
Woo, woo. There you go. Are you going to show us how to get a Lexus?
Have one, but
I just wanted to ask you, because we have a lot of faces on the screen right now. Can you raise your hand if you like learn from me content better than look at me content? So learn from me, raise your hand.
Ooh, I love that. Girl, I'm going to put that in my reel.
There you go. All
Learn
right.
instead of look at me. I love yes.
Yeah, and then I would love for you to just go a little bit more in depth into reels for those people who haven't like gone into the reel territory yet. Just like what they are, and obviously they're the new thing that Instagram is pushing, so it's something that people want to get into, but like how you create them and that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. So reels are a new, I guess, content type, or a new-ish content type on Instagram. As I said before, is being prioritized and pushed over any other content type on the platform. And it essentially consists of an up to 30-second video. And it's supposed to be, I guess, Instagram's answer to TikTok. So what started out as kind of like these dancing videos, very meme-ified videos, people were dancing to, a viral song or something like that. It's actually become an exceptional way to grow your following by doing the 3 things that I mentioned a little bit earlier, which is, posting often, creating content that people are going to want to share and engage with, and then also creating value that is more learn from me as opposed to look from me based. And the great thing about reels is that the lifespan of them tends to be longer and greater than any other content type on the platform. So for example, a feed post, within the first 24 hours, you're probably going to get the maximum number of likes and shares that you're ever going to get, because it falls off the algorithm. IGTV, same thing. I would think that the lifespan is probably the shortest for an IGTV post at this point. But reels, I've had, I did a reel maybe about 2 months ago, so before Christmas. It was about selfies. So again, creating serviceable content that is very universal, content that people are able to use. That's probably the content that's going to get shared the most. And so I made this reel about how to, upgrade your selfie and how to blur the background in your selfie so it looks more polished. And in the very beginning, maybe the reel got, I don't know, like 40,000 views. But I noticed that weeks later, for whatever reason, it started picking up more and more views. So now that reel, which 24 hours after I had done it, it had 40,000 views. Now it has 350,000 views.
Wow.
So the lifespan of these reels and the ability for that content that you've created to live on, the algorithm is very advantageous in that way. And off of that one reel, unfortunately, we don't have analytics available to us. Instagram has not made analytics available for reels, but I noticed that my Instagram following, after being stuck like at slightly under 100,000, maybe I had 98 or 99,000. I noticed that after that reel went semi-viral, I gained about 5,000 followers on the back of that one reel. And so that being said, this is why I'm a huge advocate for using reels, because guess what? You may be fabulous. You may be creating fabulous content, but if people aren't able to find you because of something that's out of your control, i.e. the Instagram algorithm, then you're probably going to stagnate and you're probably going to get discouraged. Especially if you're in the game trying to derive some sort of income from it. So reels are really hot right now. We don't know how long Instagram is going to prioritize them for, but it should be a part of your content strategy if Instagram is something that you're using as part of your business model.
I love that. I hope everybody goes and makes a reel today.
Yeah.
This.
Totally.
And then this is a perfect segue into the next question, which is, can you share what your typical interaction with Instagram looks like day to day? Do you use a scheduler? Like, are you just scrolling? Are you, what are you doing?
Yeah, so it's so funny because before I had a little baby, I was a lot more organized. I have a 13-month-old. She is in the other room. I'm surprised you can't hear her right now. And, basically my life revolves around her schedule. So in terms of my interactions with Instagram, I really want to be able to get to a point where I can like batch create content. But basically having a 13-month-old and no childcare means that like some days I can't even find underwear. Like stuff is all over the place for me. So for example, I haven't been on Instagram today. I haven't posted anything today. I didn't post anything yesterday just because I didn't have the time. However, if you are somebody who is looking to grow your Instagram, then you need to be a little bit more strategic than myself. And you need to be posting more consistently and more often. But with that being said, on a typical week or in a typical week, I post on Instagram like a feed post at least 5 times a week. Like I'm constantly posting content because when you feed that algorithm, you're going to get more reach, you're going to get more eyeballs, you're going to get more likes, shares, followers. And again, if that's part of your business model, like it is mine, it is imperative that your analytics look good so that brands want to partner with you.
So
but yeah, no, I do spend a decent amount of time on Instagram. If you see things being posted, that's all me. I don't have anybody running my Instagram for me. If you see an answer to a comment, that's me. I do everything from my phone. I don't currently schedule anything. Sometimes I'll have some posts queued up, like some posts and some captions, but I'm not doing anything automatic. Everything is just me. That's like the one part that I handle, and it's very personal to me.
You type everything on your phone?
Oh, no. Well, I'll type.
Okay.
But that being said, the posting is happening from my phone.
Incredible. And then how have you used collaborations to grow your audience, and who do you choose to collaborate with?
Wow, that's a really good question. To be honest with you, I haven't done any major collabs in a really long time, but it is an excellent way to boost your audience. It's always smart, obviously, for you to partner with someone who has a larger following than yourself, or someone who has a niche following, right? So somebody who has a very aligned following, maybe not necessarily identical, but where there's natural synergies, so that their followers will look at you and be like, oh wait, this girl's kind of rad. And if this girl's being endorsed by somebody that I follow and trust, well, I'm going to go and check out her page and potentially follow her too. With that being said, I do think that in today's landscape, if you can do like Instagram takeovers, I remember back in like 2017, I would do takeovers for, Lonely Planet Instagram, and I would do a takeover and end up with 1,000 extra followers. I don't know how true that is now in 2021, but that was something that I did in the past. But I would absolutely recommend doing collaborations via takeovers or IG lives in order to introduce you and your counterpart to each other's audiences.
That's so true. I know the picture that we used to promote this event was part of a collaboration with a few friends and some makeup people, remember? Right?
That's right. Actually, you know what? That is right. So, and especially like in that sense as well, working with different, creators or, makeup artists in that case, it's a good way to introduce each other's audiences. And obviously, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, sort of thing. So you're providing me with this service, I'm providing you with publicity. And it's kind of a symbiotic relationship in that way as well. But
sure.
you know what? It doesn't have to, and it shouldn't always be transactional. I mean, I think that it's just cool to just link up with people that you really enjoy, as opposed to being like, well, I want to get more followers, because I find that a lot of the times the more organic partnerships can bear just as much fruit.
You feel like people just follow your friends because they're your friends?
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
Really do. I find that if I post somebody in my stories and I'm just hanging out with them, sometimes like those are my most engaged posts, to be honest. People won't click on like a product or something like that I'm advertising, but people, yeah, they're interested. They're nosy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about just the fact that you're being you and your face is behind all this stuff that you're writing. And so it really has to be true to you. And these have to be your actual friends that you're actually promoting. Right. Because if something goes wrong, like it's your face in front of it. Yeah. So there's that level of truthfulness and authenticity. I feel like even if people have never met you before, like if this is their first time seeing you speak live, there's still this level of trust between you because it is such a personal connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I would love an example or two of how somebody's like found your Instagram and then offered you something else, like whether it's a keynote speaking opportunity or anything, any sort of ad campaign or a TV show. I don't know how, like what sort of comes off of your Instagram, but what have you seen come out of just like posting and being engaging on Instagram, and what have people told you has like led them to these opportunities?
Yeah. It happens all the time, to be honest with you. I've gotten so many opportunities, whether they've been speaking opportunities or on-air opportunities or various brand partnerships, because somebody has found me, typically through Instagram. They have found me and they've like vibed with me. Actually, it was so funny. Someone had sent me baby clothes for Kira, for my daughter, because as it turned out, I had worked with G Adventures, which is a small tour group company. I was an ambassador for them for a couple of years. And somebody that I worked with, like at G, their girlfriend started following me through like G, and then this person had like a clothing brand, a children's clothing brand. And then, you know, so she had followed me all along for like 2 years or something. And then I ended up having a baby. And then she reached out to me and was like, oh, well, you know, I've been following you for a really long time. And I really vibe with what you're doing. And now you have this child and I have this clothing brand. And so she sent me clothes. So my daughter has been wearing these clothes. And it's funny because there's just like very organic, no money exchanged hands or anything. She wasn't like, oh, you need to post these clothes or anything. But I received the clothing. I really like them. Cure really liked them. And now I've posted them online multiple times to rave reviews. I get so many people being like, oh my goodness, like these clothes are so cute. And so that's an example, I guess, of an organic sort of partnership where somebody followed me or was a longtime follower. And then there was an opportunity for us to partner. And so they reached out.
That's incredible. I love stories like that. I would love to open this up to the community. So if you just want to raise your hand, there's a hand raising capability. So if you have a question for Oneika, we have about 10 or 15 minutes for questions. You can go ahead and raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Or you could raise your hand like this if you don't know how to raise your hand on. Oh, there you go, Jess.
Hello, everybody. Really happy to be here. Oneika, your story just like fascinates me because I'm currently a high school teacher. I teach Italian. So when you said, and I've taught French before too. Yeah. And so when you said that, my brain just like lit up on fire. So my question is like super specific to that. How did you find the transition from kind of leaving teaching behind? I know that we never actually leave it behind, right? But I mean, like, in the traditional sense, because I know that your Instagram and your business and you as a person, you know, being an educator that stays with you forever, no matter where you go.
Totally.
But how did you find that transition? And I'm kind of like nervous about the backlash too, about people saying, oh, you don't want to be a teacher anymore, and that whole thing. Just, you know, any random thoughts that come to your mind, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, I knew that I wanted to leave the classroom. And as you say, you never really leave education. Everything I do is centered around educating people. Now I'm just educating outside of the classroom, so to speak. Is that your cat on top of the?
Yeah, it is. That's one of my 2 cats. Yeah, he's up there. That's his favorite box in the fridge. He very often joins these chats. So
that's so funny. But yeah, no, for me, I had taught for 10 years and I thought, well, you know, I've had this experience. I've taught in different schools. I've done different grade levels. I was, you know, a grade level leader. I was like a you know, a head of house. So kind of like a student kind of service leader as well. And I thought, you know what, nobody can ever take my experience and my education away from me. Nobody would be able to take this away from me. So I thought, you know, I'm going to take this leap because why not? And it ended up being the best decision I could have ever made. I let my teaching license lapse because I knew that it would be another barrier for me. And I just kind of just threw caution to the wind, I guess you could say. And I think so many people are afraid to switch careers. I mean, I switched careers in my mid-30s. I was like 34, I guess, when I decided that I was going to leave the teaching profession. But nobody can take those years of experience that you have in the classroom. Nobody can take those degrees and those certifications away from you. So if you take a sabbatical or you take the time to pursue this other thing that interests you, there's no reason that you can't go back to the classroom at some point.
Thank you so much for saying that. That resonates like super hard. And I appreciate you taking the time to give such a detailed response because I really feel like I'm in that space right now. And I'm really happy to hear that from you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Other thing I would say is, I don't know if you've considered international teaching. teaching in international schools. You know, that's what I did. I started out in Canada teaching French, but then I ended up teaching in overseas schools. You know, I taught in the Canadian International School in Hong Kong, where I was actually teaching from the exact same textbook that I taught in Toronto, Ontario, like the year before. So there are, you know, we live in a world now where there are so many different possibilities and configurations and opportunities that, you know, you can leave this current configuration of your job and then do it elsewhere and have it look differently.
Mm-hmm.
So true. Thank you.
Oneika, I just dropped, thank you so much, Jess. Oneika, I just dropped your how to make 100K a year teaching abroad link.
Cool. Awesome.
Just in case there are other teachers, that is a very good article.
Yeah. People don't realize. Yeah.
Jordan, do you have a question?
I do. Well, first of all, Oneika, love your feed. And just want to say, since you were talking about partnering with people who have followings larger than yours, if you're ever bored, just let me know and we can partner up on something.
Sure.
But I was wondering I know Reels are like the big thing right now. What other sort of tips can you give right now for Instagram folks? So I'm just getting into Reels, and of course it's tough curating like travel content when we're not doing a whole lot of travel. I mean, there's lots of ideas out there, but it's just a lot tougher to find that inspiration, put stuff together that's like visually appealing and really captures attention.
Well,
So for just general.
Yeah, I would actually say that it doesn't necessarily have to be visually appealing in order to capture somebody's attention. It doesn't necessarily have to be inspirational or aspirational content. It can be educational content. What people, the strength of Reels, and actually I have so many ideas now. Now after this call, I'm gonna go and make a reel based on what we were talking about. But you know, what you want to, or some of the most popular Reels that I've seen, and you know, personally for me, and then I've seen for others, they aren't inspirational or aspirational. They are educational. So you are giving people value-packed content. You are giving them tips and tricks and hacks and information that they can take away to better themselves and their lives. So instead of them being like, oh my God, like, that's so amazing, I wish, you're giving them the tools that they can achieve a similar result. Those Reels and that Instagram content, I find, is the most impactful content. And that's the stuff that gets shared the most.
Okay, regardless of, I mean, what outside of Reels would be tips? Like a lot of people's engagement has taken like a real hit since before the election, and it's never really recovered. Even when the recent stat came back, I was like, my engagement kind of recovered, but it's been, compared to what it was prior to that, sort of disastrous. Yeah. And I've been trying to recover and trying to figure out what the new trick is here, you know?
Yeah. Value. You know, what information are you giving people that they can take away and they can use? Sometimes it just requires a reset, or it requires a mind shift, right? Because we're so focused inward. Instagram has, from its inception, been about kind of like showing off and humble bragging. And this is what I got, and this is how beautiful I am, and this is how polished and good I look, and this is how curated my feed is. But now we're in a season where it's like, you know, people are like, gimme. Like, what can you give me? What can you do for me? Yeah, you're cute. Yeah, you have an enviable lifestyle, but that has nothing to do with me. So you need to show people or teach people how they can achieve something that they want to achieve. So when you provide that value, and you provide that value consistently, then you will find that your reach increases.
Great, thank you so much.
No problem.
I would also add that that's also the content that people save.
Exactly. There.
All right, my little brother is on the call. Ryan, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, Oneika, awesome, dope presentation. I think it was super tight. I have a question though. How often are you trying to do things to grow your following outside of Instagram? Like, do you do things specifically to gain like emails or something like that? Because if Instagram were to go away or TikTok were to replace it or something like that, like, what are you doing there? Like, if Instagram disappeared, would you still have people to relay stuff to?
Yeah, no, I would absolutely hope so. So I have two websites. I have my OneikaRaymond.com domain, which is like my professional website with all of my on-air work and my editorial work. And then I have my old blog, OneikaTheTraveller.com, which Matt is always like, you don't update it often, but you know, everybody has their own little strategy. So I have this blog, which I don't update anymore, but both of them allow me to capture emails and as you probably know from your sister and from Matt, really important to be able to reach your audience, I guess, or your supporters directly. But I would also contend, and I would also say that it really depends on what your business model is. For me, I am, my business model is talent. So like I am a host, I am a creator, I am a writer. I don't have a product. I actually am not interested in having a product. It's funny, Erica, because Matt is always hitting me up. He's like, you should create a course. You should create a course. I'm like, I'm actually not interested in creating a course. I'm not interested in creating a product. If I did have a product, then it would really be incumbent upon me to beef up my email list, right? Because I want to be able to sell my product to somebody. But for right now, I'm actually just content in being the product myself, right? Like I like to do on-camera work the most and like hosting and things like that. That's like what lights my fire. And so that's why at this current time, you know, building social capital and like building a personal brand online is something that's very important and necessary for me right now. But if I had a product to sell, then that would definitely shift. My priorities would shift to building up and beefing up my email list. But yeah, it's always really important to exist on multiple platforms and to own your own platform as well. Because you're right, Instagram could go up in flames tomorrow, or there could be some insane breach. I know that I have a Garmin, and it was last year sometime, I think it was like last summer, that they had like some sort of crazy breach. And as a result, I think it was like for 2 weeks, nobody had access to their data. It was like something crazy like that. And I was like, oh crap, like all of my stuff is on this watch. So it was a good reminder that we need to have other things just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
That's great. I'm curious, and either you could write it in the chat or sort of wave your hand. Is anybody interested in selling themselves like Oneika does as a host or as a speaker or as talent? Is anybody interested in that sort of route? Oh, we have at least one hand. Yes. Okay, a few people. So do you want to just close out by giving a few tips on what people can do if that is their goal, whether it's, you know, it's related to practicing so that they're a really great speaker when they get hired, or how to get hired for things like this?
Yeah. So you need to create a lot of content. You know, you need to build up your portfolio. In 2016, when I decided that I was going to try and work in travel media full time, and when I realized that on camera or on air was where I really wanted to be, I was like, well, I don't have a large platform. You know, at that point, Travel Channel had not reached out to me yet. I was not doing television on a regular basis. And so I said, okay, well, what platforms are available to me? Facebook video was a huge thing, and YouTube. And so there was a year that I created a crap ton of content. I must have produced like 40 vlogs or something like that. And I started studying and looking to see what content or what type of videos, what type of topics, what formats people really engaged with. So at the time, 2016, vlog style, you know, offering travel tips and hacks, those were topics that were doing really well. Those were video formats that were doing really well at the time. And so I was creating like longer form content, like 10 plus minutes on YouTube. And then Facebook video, I noticed that content that was like 2 minutes or less, that was like non-hosted. So like I didn't have to be in it. That was like the stuff that was going viral on Facebook. And so I just put out a ton of content, and I had a few viral videos, and I got discovered. You know, my first paying TV job with CTV Canada was because they found me, they found one of my videos on YouTube. And then my job with Travel Channel, I worked with Travel Channel for 3 years, and I hosted 2 digital series for them. We shot over 40 episodes in like 9 different cities. They found me on YouTube and Instagram as well. So I was just constantly putting out content. You know, it wasn't the best content, but I was really consistent, and I was getting views on the back of it. And I got discovered. So that's my number one tip. I mean, if you want to move into that space, don't wait for, you know, NBC or somebody to reach out to you, because it's not going to happen. You need to build your own portfolio and build your own personal brand as a host. And that's what I did.
That's incredible. I do know quite a few people that put on conferences, and a lot of them look at YouTube. Once they have an idea of what kind of speaker they want, they go straight to YouTube or Instagram Live or something like that to see if they're going to be a good presenter.
Exactly, because you need to be able to see that person in action and doing their thing to see if it's something that is going to suit the format of whatever event you're putting on.
Yeah, and no better way than to do it today, where everything has such a low barrier to entry, and
Exactly.
you can access everything, and you can do it all yourself from your phone. So
yeah. I went out in 2016 and I bought a new camera, and I bought a tripod, and I bought a mic, and I just started putting out content.
Wow. Okay. Oneika, I feel like very inspired by you right now. I feel like I need to go make some YouTube videos. But and beef up my Instagram reels. I've never made a reel yet. So now I'm like, oh, I should make a reel. That would be fun. But thank you so much for being here. In all honesty, it's been such a great, like, jam-packed, information-packed filled hour. And we really super appreciate you coming to share with our community. Everyone here that's been on at least one other call knows that I live for this community, and I'm so excited for you to be able to come and share your knowledge with us and share your passion with us, and just, you know, share your information with us, because we're all so thirsty to learn, and you definitely quenched that today. Do you want to say anything or share anything about what you're doing next before we sort of sign off?
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram, y'all. Give me one of those Instagram follows to keep up with me. Oneika Traveller. I am at Oneika Traveller, and that's Traveler with 2 L's because she's Canadian. And yeah, I just keep on creating, and it's all about the numbers. It's the power of the numbers. You know, you could create 100 videos that don't go anywhere, and video 101 will go viral. If you don't put yourself out there, you are guaranteed to lose. Just put yourself out there, because you never know. So it's very, very, very important. That's one of the mottos that I live by. Just drop it. Just put it out there. Love
it. All right, before we sign off, I would love to just share my screen again for 2 minutes. So I just want to invite everyone that found value in this presentation to go ahead on to patreon.com/nomadicmat to see what we offer for our exclusive community. One of the major things that is applicable to everyone here is that you get access to all the TNN replays. So this one, all the hundreds that we've done in the past and anything in the future. So please go ahead and check that out. Also, for those of you, I was not paying that close attention to the chat, but for those of you who said this was your first event, I just want to let you know how you can come to more. thenomadicnetwork.com/events is where we list all of our events. And for those of you who may not know, I'm about to pop and have a baby any day now. So there's the next 5 or 6 months of events up there. So you can go ahead and sign up for any of the ones you want. We have one more this week with Nomadic Matt. Hopefully the snow isn't going to impede on this on Thursday, but he's going to be answering all your questions about travel hacking, same time Thursday. We also have Nikki Vargas coming next week, who's going to be talking all about what it's like to launch a travel magazine. So if that's ever been one of your dreams, definitely come to that. Chris Oldfield, who is one of our amazing Nomadic Matt team members, is going to be talking about how he just like basically kills it on efficiency. He works so much and writes novels in his spare time. So definitely someone to learn from. And we also have Rodrigo, who's coming next Thursday, who's going to be talking about how to positively impact local communities through responsible tourism. Aside from speaker events, we also put together happy hours for people. So if you're in a certain region, you can come and connect with other travelers, and those you'll be unmuted. You get to share and chit chat and tell your travel stories and share your travel dreams, and it's great. They're really awesome, low-key, fun events. And then we also just started a travel book club, and I believe David Farley is in this today. I saw him chatting. I don't know if he's still here, but David Farley is our next author. These book clubs are the first Wednesday of every month. And David Farley wrote an incredible book, The Irreverent Curiosity, all about the search of finding the stolen foreskin of Jesus Christ. It's awesome. It is hilarious, and Matt will be hosting that with David on March 3rd. And these book clubs are really awesome because we always have the author come and share. So it's sort of like getting the behind the scenes look, and you can ask all your questions. And then the last but not least, thank you so much for being a part of our travel community. Oneika and I can chat all day long, but it's so much more fun when we have 100 other people asking their questions and just participating and being wonderful. So thank you so much. We can't do this without you. And thank you again, Oneika, for being here and for taking the time.
Hey, all right, take care.
Bye, everyone. Bye.